All right, well, Mr. James, I want to thank you once again for not only having this and inviting everybody here, but we have a few questions to ask you.
All righty.
All right? Actually,
My lawyer's standing in the wings, so.
my first question to you is this.
Okay.
What is that?
What is this?
Yes,
What is this? This
Yes.
is where the music. This is where the magic happens. This is my desk.
You write on this desk?
I write on this desk. Yes. It is a conglomeration of various parts.
Yes, it is very conglomerated.
Yes.
If you guys weren't here earlier, I saw him bring this up. It was in pieces.
Yes.
Okay. What's the top of the desk?
The top of the desk, the portion in the green felt, was actually part of a pool table.
Get out of here.
Yes. Absolutely. I worked. Yes, and this is one of the most interesting stories because I always like to gauge the audience reaction when I say, yes, I worked for Zany Brainy. Yes, there was a place called Zany Brainy. It was over in Camp Hill, and one of the fun jobs that I had was taking apart various things for returns and removal. And one of the things we got in was one of those huge 5-in-1 sports gaming complex things that people tend to buy from time to time and never know how to use them. So they said, well, take care of this. And as I was taking it apart, one of the pieces was this pool table top. So I thought this would make an excellent desk. And the 2x4s were recycled from some old crate work that I have at my present job. Along with the hardware, as a matter of fact. Hardware is recycled, the wheels are recycled, pretty much everything's recycled.
It's a very green writing table.
You betcha.
You know it is physically green.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's cool. Now, before, as we were talking earlier, a lot of people realize that not only did Tom and I go to school together, but I also went to school with his wife. And actually, Tom and I's relationship goes actually further back than that.
Oh my.
He and I attended kindergarten together.
I almost brought that picture by the way. Almost did.
I was kept that. I have a picture of us playing D&D in high school. That's an older point. But what's interesting for me is, as going back to what you're saying about the taking the money earlier and
Yes.
going to the supermarket, I felt I was a big boy because I was riding a city bus to go to kindergarten. My parents put me on a city bus and drove me down, let me go downtown to go to kindergarten. And when I got off the bus, I had to still walk another block and a half from the bus stop to Salem Lutheran. Yep.
Salem Lutheran Church.
Yep.
We always called it Salem Lutheran Kindergarten.
Yep, exactly. But that's where Tom and I first met, and believe me, he was tall back then.
Yeah.
All right, back to you. I want to know what writers have influenced you in your years.
Okay. Definitely John Steinbeck.
Okay.
And another writer that was a great influence for me. Someone I can actually honestly say I've pretty much read everything that the man has ever wrote. And that author's name is Richard Bach.
Okay.
Actually, it was my brother, my older brother, who suggested that to him. And that's a funny story. I was reading a lot of aviation related.
Jonathan, I think, Sergott.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was reading a lot of aviation and aviation history, and my brother was like, you should expand your reading. Because you're only reading these certain things, and that's not good for you. You should expand. And he's on, and being a big brother, he's on continually telling me to do this. So finally one day I turn around and say, okay, fine, tell me what I have to read. And he handed me a list. And on that list was one of Richard Bach's more popular works at the time called Illusions. And another one was, as my wife pointed out, Jonathan Livingston Seagull. And I loved reading both of them. And much to my surprise, I found out that he was a pilot. And he wrote a lot of books about his adventures, his experience So once again, I was reading aviation-themed books.
Does anyone here have any questions for Tom at all? I apologize for Tom. I have to find out, he's been keeping this from me for a while. What's the BT all about?
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
have
ask
to know
that.
what's this whole BT James stuff about? I do know something, but
I had some things published in high school under my real name, Tom Becker, and I was still pretty on the fence at the time to make writing kind of a full-time thing for me. And as I was writing out my college applications and my applications for college, my applications for loans, my applications to have all other applications, it was always Becker, Thomas, James. And that's how it
I
came
love
together.
it.
There we go.
So, Mr. James, what's next?
My wife told you to ask me that.
Yes.
Right? And she was like, make
Yes.
sure you tell them.
Make sure
you tell
Make
them.
sure you ask him what's next. What's next?
Well, I have been doing quite a bit of reading because there are things that interest me. You know, I want to write about certain things. I wanted to write about a professor of Egyptology in the one story, Portrait of an Egyptian Woman. I didn't know anything about Egyptology, so I sat down and for the better part of a year, I gave myself a one-man course on Egyptology. And thankfully I was, once again, living downtown Harrisburg at the time with full access to the State Museum, which, by the way, the State Library, that's, by the way, has a great Egyptology section if you're ever interested. So, what have I been reading? I've been reading about astronomy. I've been reading about physics.
Okay.
I've been reading about comparative religions. And I've been reading about angels. And genetics.
So, are we going to space at some point here, or are we seeing something futuristic?
Maybe. Maybe.
Wow, interesting. So we're talking a complete work of fiction then.
It's going to be an epic. And the way things are looking, it may be a series of books.
Okay.
Hopefully. Hopefully there'll be a series of successful books.
So far, research has taken about 2.5 to 3 years.
Wow.
Yes, and he's constantly getting updates,
Mm-hmm.
medical-wise, on the DNA aspect
Mhm.
of it.
Okay. That's very interesting.
It's about, let's say, the main themes of a man, a human man, and his transformation, metaphysically, physically,
Wow.
and how he evolves.
Wow, that's amazing.
A man is given, he finds that there's a genetic trigger in his system, his makeup. He goes and gets tested, and he finds out there's a genetic trigger, and that trigger goes off. And what happens next is something that has a profound effect on him and the entire world.
Wow, that's fantastic.
But it also attracts attention from others.
It sounds like a very interesting project you have planned. Can you give us a ballpark of where you're at?
Well, you can give you deadlines I've set for him.
Okay, all right.
I am seriously hoping to submit a sort of a rough outline of the first book to my editor, who's also my muse, who's also my wife. Thank you, I love you. Hopefully before the end of this year.
Okay.
And I'm going to take advantage of what is called winter leave at my workplace, hopefully to sit down and actually start writing this thing, because I need the time
Okay.
to just jump, you know.
What do you consider to be a success?
What do I consider success in
Yeah.
general,
Yeah.
other than this
Okay.
right here?
Is this
Sharing my work with people that I know and people that I love. When I first started writing, I had often thought to myself, you know, it would be the coolest thing to be the author that the kids always go to for their book reports. To have those kind of books that the kids always go for book reports. But really, it's just being able to sit down and tell the world, you know, I wrote a book. And being able to share it with people that I know, that's success.
All right.
I feel very successful right now.
Well, thank you, Mr. James. Appreciate it. I want to thank you all again for coming. Thank you very much.
If anyone is interested, I do have a website for the book. It's btjwingedlion.com. And my good friend here, John, you have a website, don't you?
TotallyMental.net.
.net.
Yeah.
.net.
So don't go to .com. Some psychiatrist owns that.
Yeah.
I don't know. She sounds crazy to me. Okay. But once again, I want to thank you guys for showing up here. I know that it was difficult for some of you to get here. And once again, this was fantastic. Ellen and Tom have provided like refreshments. They have specialty cheeses. They have special meat from Lebanon, bologna. Is that right? They have gone through the torture of going to Lebanon on a Saturday and getting pretzels,
Honestly,
freshly made from Chewy Pretzel.
Chewy's was busy though.
Yeah, I bet you they
Chewy's
were.
was busy.
Oh, I love it. Getting a soft pretzel from there.
And don't trust your GPS. When your GPS tells you,
You were
might
there.
arrive at your
To be
destination.
fair,
Unless you're looking for something that resembles a building from a
Yes.
1940s gas station era,
yeah.
Yep.
you will not, I don't care, they say they have a big sign outside and everybody
It
knows
was right where the
it is.
GPS.
I'm not from Lebanon.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a stranger in a foreign land.
You named Chewy's?
Yes,
you
I
look
was
for a
sure.
sign.
There's
Okay.
something wrong with you.
We were crazy. We were out of towners. It was a Harrisburg thing. We were looking for a sign.
And also keeping with the Pennsylvania Dutch theme, they have birch beer in red, in white, and also they have diet birch beer. So, I want to thank them both for inviting me to spend their evening with them. I want to thank Tom, Mr. James, for writing a fantastic book.
Thank you.
I was actually pulled back to my childhood when I was reading through this book, so I was very impressed. So, thank you once again, Tom.
Thank you, Mr. Sergott.
Yay.